David held up the whole show to grab a beer like a diva before we pressed record. You got your beer, Dave?
Yeah, I do.
All right. You got your bevy?
Now we can go on.
All right.
My bevy.
And Johnny Spoiler's got his. It looks like, I think I have this thing that looks either like a cheap pina colada or space milk from like a space movie. But it's actually one of our Dubby mixes.
Oh, I was going to say, it looks like oxidized water that hasn't cleared up
How
yet.
Do you,
I don't know. I don't know.
Doesn't water have oxygen in it anyway?
Yeah, I don't know what the proper term is, but when you get milky water that takes a moment to clear out.
Things you hear at the top of a podcast when the mic is just running. This is Binge-Watchers podcast. Johnny Spoiler here. I only spoil the movies I love. Jordan Savage is here. She's so savage she can review a movie without having seen it. And David's here, who drops these dangerous details because he's dangerous, Dave. He'll drop some trivia about the movies, and he'll let you know if he doesn't like it. It's clear by the trivia. We'll see how it goes tonight. We're talking about Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, and we got an exclusive. We got a Q&A from Kira Gardner, who directed the Living with Chucky documentary about the whole franchise, which just dropped on Screambox. We're going to play that a little bit later. I'll remind you again, probably several times. However, first, Dave submitted a question that I didn't have time to throw out to Kira, and I just thought, well, I'll ask Dave and Jordan Dave's question. Do you have a fear of dolls? And do you have any creepy doll stories that you can think of? Have you ever encountered a creepy doll in your real life? Who wants to field the question first?
I've never. I'll go. I definitely think I've made it a point to stay away from dolls. So I think that I would have a fear. Yeah, if I had dolls around. So not my jam.
You're not going to thrift stores, secondhand stores, or yard sales going, you know what? That creepy ass little clown doll, I need to take that home today for 25 cents or whatever it is, $2.
Yeah, I ain't doing it. So
Davey?
I mean, not as an adult, but as a kid, definitely, because of the series of movies, especially the first one, because it came out when I was really young.
Well, the first one's so serious.
Yeah,
you believe a serial killer could do voodoo and get an adult, and you could buy the doll at Christmas, and then you're screwed.
Look, the first Chucky was so scary that it just as a kid, it just a few clips that they could play on TV at the time freaked me out, and so I actually had a talking Mickey Mouse doll that had the animatronics and stuff, just like Chucky. And yeah, my brothers used to torture me with that and tell me it's going to kill me. Not as an adult, but yes, definitely as a kid, I was.
What do you guys think? I'm holding up the Funko Pop Dayglow version of the Bride of Chucky version of Chucky.
I was going to say, it's definitely brighter.
One of my co-hosts. Is that creepy or just cute?
No, that it's adorable. Cute. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm kind of bummed I don't have it.
So that'd be the trick. It's if you had a charming doll kill you. Listen, one of my favorite subgenres. I mean, we talked about werewolf movies for a long time on this podcast, and those are some of our favorite episodes. But however, the subgenre of killer doll movies, real special for me. I love it. I love that one where. Well, it's actually not really the doll. There's a whole other thing going on, but the boy's pretty good with the porcelain doll and the parents and keep talking about it it's their son. There's a twist in that movie, but there's that one Dead Silence with Donnie Wahlberg, right? Is the detective, and there's a ventriloquist doll in there and he's got to kill. And
I haven't seen it since the theater. That's
a good one. Then there's an old one with Anthony Hopkins. What's his name? Magic, yeah. There's the freaking. Everybody knows R.L. Stein's Goosebumps has a whole trilogy of books dedicated to an evil ventriloquist doll.
There's a couple episodes of Buffy too.
I was about to say Buffy has her own version of the Slappy.
Yeah.
There was a few episodes of Tales from the Crypt that were really creepy involving a ventriloquist dummy.
I had mentioned clown dolls to Jordan a few seconds ago because actually when my brother and I were little, we did in fact buy a doll at a thrifty yard sale or something. And first of all, it's probably a bad idea because actually I think now we're going to get a little hippie. We're going to get a little hippy dippy. Everything's made of energy. Everything has energy. And if you take somebody's energy, what if it's the bad kind? Don't buy things at an estate sale. Don't go to somebody's dead and you go to the funeral sale of all their shit. and you buy the wrong thing and then you have their bad luck, like you're in trouble.
Especially creepy clown dolls.
Yeah.
Like that's a double negative,
Well, I guess in like the 50s and 60s, they had these dolls that were made out of like soda bottle kind of, and they were filled with sand. So that's how the doll stood up, as part of its body was made out of a bottle filled with sand.
Sounds like a weapon. Just going there.
So, I mean, who knows? Maybe we were actually just really screwing each other, or our family was, and we were all moving it around. But so, we would put it in different parts of our bedroom, and like during the night, it would be in different places, or the next day it would be in different places, or like a week later it would be in different places. And yeah, I remember we had to deal with that doll. We had to take that doll out. You know what I mean? But this is like Dave, you said, like when your imagination runs wild when you're like 9 or 10.
So was this like was this like a creepy version of like Elf on a Shelf, where you just kept screwing with each other, putting it somewhere new?
Oh, well, this is pre Elf on a Shelf, right? So
yeah, so I guess
they made a horror movie about Elf on a Shelf, right?
Did they really?
I think they anyway. I thought we were gonna get creepy. I thought for sure Jordan had a superstitious creepy doll story, but I guess
I did the same thing that you did, but with a life-size cutout of Buddy the Elf. So I would like hide it behind my sister's curtains in her room. Yeah. But like it was honestly just like a couple years ago. So nothing creepy doll-wise. I didn't play with dolls. So
I mean, these movies, at least the first couple genuinely gave me nightmares for a while. Like I used to have dreams where I was like in a Chucky factory where like they would all come out after me. Like
which happened in the new Chucky show, actually. Like
yeah, so like in fact when I saw them, like Chuckies. Oh yeah, I thought that was like, oh, they made my nightmares come alive, which was weird. Wow.
Okay, moving on. Today's episode is sponsored by Honey and HelloFresh. You can get PayPal Honey for free at joinhoney.com/watchers. You can also go to hellofresh.com/binge-watchers50 and use code binge-watchers50 for 50% off, plus your first box will ship for free. Also, like I said earlier, we got a Streambox exclusive peek at Living with Chucky. Later in this episode, stick around for a Q&A with director Kira Gardner. And now I think we'll officially start the show.
Crack open a cold box of wine or pour something cold on ice, because it's the Binge-Watchers podcast.
You know what I should have done is have a puppeteer to move my Chucky doll around while I'm talking to you guys. If I was really creative or had thought of that. While I'm sitting here in the dungeon. What's the dungeon? It's this unofficial studio space that I found in the basement of this office complex. And Jordan has lovingly pointed out that it's clearly a basement. And so I'm just kind of embracing the basement vibes. I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do with it afterwards. However, right now, that's what it is. Home video headlines: the new Dungeons and Dragons is out. It's called Honor Among Thieves. It's got Chris Pine. Who else is in it? Who's the British guy that's in the romantic comedies?
Mm-hmm. He's in Bridgerton too. The Bridgerton dude. What's his name?
Who's in Bridgerton? Oh, he plays one of the wizards.
I think so. I was just catching up on my Fandango videos the other day.
There's a teenage girl. She turns into like a owl/bear. Then there's a wizard who's not very good, who's trying to get better. Then there's a wizard that betrays them. And then there might be an uber wizard above him. And then there's a bureaucrat played by the guy in About a Boy. He's in like a million. Notting Hill. What is this guy's name?
I've said it like 3 times.
Have Grant. You said it?
Yes. What? Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant. Okay. Hugh Grant plays like the villainous bureaucrat. Critics are saying it's a darling, but it's tanking with the audience popcorn ratings on whatever that popcorn rating.
Really?
What's that tomato thing? Rotten Tomatoes are rotten?
Because I thought the word on the street was like even fans were a big fan of it.
Digging on it?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of like popular across the board. I mean, not making a ton of money, but not like.
Well, I'm gonna pop in. I'm gonna pop in and see it. I don't know when.
I want to see it, but I have a feeling if I don't get to it this week, I'm just gonna have to wait till it's on Paramount Plus or wherever it's going.
Oh yeah. maybe during your Savage Spring Break, you can take a look at it.
I do want to see it though. I've heard nothing but good things. It looks leaps and bounds better than the one from 2000. Or God, that was awful.
The problem is that like they're trying to convert the game into a movie, and like they are trying to stick too rigidly, I think, to the rules of Dungeons and Dragons to fit in all the things, the character types, the rules and mechanics of the game into the movies. Should be much broader, I think.
Yeah, I've actually heard reviews from people who've played the game and from people who haven't, and it seems across the board, like people who got the in jokes liked it, but they said it wasn't distracting, and people who didn't know the jokes said it didn't take away from anything, and it was able. So, I guess they sprinkled stuff in, but like non-fans still enjoy it.
Huh. Well, the other thing that happened is Jonathan Majors, his agent, met with Marvel, right? Oh. So previously we had told you folks we don't know what's going on with Jonathan Majors except for he's been accused of something and he's been dragged to court, and who knows where the cookies are going to crumble on this one. But half of his performances as Kang the Conqueror. So what's Kang? So in Marvel, Kang is this multi-dimensional figure that pops up in and out at different times and can be multiple people at the same time and show up there. So they had this actor like playing like 4 or 5 different versions of this Kang guy. And he's supposed to be in like 3 or 4 movies plus 2 TV shows. So for the next like 2.5 years, we were going to have Jonathan Majors like everywhere. Now, I don't know. They've only released like the first 2 appearances and supposedly shot the 3rd appearance of his character. So might be looking at a freaking recast in a major way. However, from at the top level, Marvel just went through a bunch of fire and rehires, and like they just annihilated the entire executive team, and which makes sense because off the podcast, Dave and I have been talking about like fanboying out about like, yeah, Marvel is it sucks now. Like what's going on? Like so anyway.
I mean, I just hate the idea. Like I love like individual things, but like when you have to watch every single show and movie and special just to catch.
But their comic books were like that. Like you had to read Avengers 45 and then get Spider-Man 67 and then get Fantastic Four 33. Like you had to they did that to you. They tricked you in comic books too. They made sure they got your $1.75 that week and the next week,
But that kind of sucks though. Like, I mean, I think I've joked. I'm like, dude, just be honest with yourself. It's all TV show. Every single movie, TV show, whatever needs to come with a previously on, because I'm not watching 20 hours to watch a 2-hour movie. Like, I'm just not doing it.
The other debacle is
like
the same thing that like sent earthquakes through the executive team at Marvel also sent like shockwaves through the executive team at freaking Disney, and they're pulling triggers on their top people too. But then specifically, apparently, there's all this stuff going on behind the scenes. This is like rumor mill still. So again, it's just a rumor. Don't sue me, Disney. It's a rumor. Like that the team behind Mandalorian is having issues. Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, whatever his name is, and Kathleen Kennedy, who's like the top dog at Lucasfilm / Disney or what they're doing. So Mandalorian has been pretty much consistent up until like the midway point of season 3, which is happening right now. And it's kind of veering in a different direction. And so they're like, what's the overall scope? Apparently, those 3 people can't agree on like what the overall arc is. And so we're kind of seeing like the mix of like 3 or 4 Star Wars stories. But it's like Disney took the Marvel model to all of their shows in all of their universes, So like the Disney, if you watch a Star Wars show, you kind of get previews of 2 other Star Wars shows,
Well, hell, I mean, sometimes that works. I mean, what was it? Was it not Obi-Wan? But the Book of Boba Fett, where it was the show sucked, and then finally, hey, the Mandalorian. It was like a Mandalorian mini season.
All these websites are reporting that Pedro Pascal walked off the set of Mandalorian season 2, and that actually the episodes in Boba Fett that were related to the Mandalorian, that seemed like the first 2 episodes of Mandalorian season 3, weren't originally supposed to be. There wasn't supposed to be a Boba Fett show, I guess. So they wouldn't have been included. Anyway, whatever. Jordan's like, this is all boring. Can we move on?
I guess I love the drama, so
bring me more drama. Eat all the drama. Tonight's movies is lots of drama, actually. Absolute melodrama. Bride of Chucky. Chucky's girlfriend Tiffany resurrects the doll. They go on like a honeymoon style killing spree. They've hijacked a human couple who they want to trade bodies with. So they got to go do this ritual, but along the way, like people are convinced that this human couple's killing on a killing spree, and they're getting blamed for the doll murders. And then we have some puppet sex, and it leads to a puppet bastard. I mean, and right there, I mean, I can basically preview everybody's favorite bit already, but I'll hold my tongue. But I think, I mean, it's kind of like you had me at hello. You had me at puppet sex. Like, there's not much more to say, but let's see if Dave's got trivia. Should I mention Seed of Chucky already? Maybe. I mentioned the puppet bastard. His name is Glenn. He has an alternate ego named Glenda. And the second one, Seed of Chucky, his parents they get, obviously, spoiler alert, Tiffany and Chucky die in Bride of Chucky and get torn apart. Tiffany's burnt to shit. Chucky's, he's all shot to hell. So Glenn goes to collect them and bring them back while they're actually filming a movie within a movie. Jennifer Tilly is playing Tiffany in a Bride of Chucky type movie within Seed of Chucky, also playing Tiffany. It might get a little confusing, but
I mean, I don't want to say it this way because it's not. I mean, it's almost kind of like a dumber version or sillier. No, let's say sillier because it's not dumb, but it is a sillier version of like Wes Craven's New Nightmare, where it's like it's meta, like it's in the world where it's in the real world, but it's also a world where the character of Chucky is actually alive now. It's weird.
Well, there's like a series of things that horror movies were doing at the time. Like they have rappers in the horror movies. Like this one has Method Man, I think. Seed of Chucky has like Method Man.
Yeah. Well, let me give you a preemptive fact on that one. That was actually Don Mancini, the writer and director, actually wanted Quentin Tarantino for that part to play himself, but he couldn't get him. So somehow they came to Redman. I don't know. I don't know if that was a better or worse choice, but Redman pulls it off.
Wait, which one was it? Method or Red? It
was Redman. Because like Jennifer Tilly has a weird way of saying Redman, like Redman. Like I think she like pronunciates it, or if that's the right way, enunciates it really well.
Right.
Redman.
So I kind of masked up facts for both movies. I didn't go too heavy, even though I pulled a lot of facts.
Lazy, David. Why don't you have separate lists?
You know why? Well, I do. Well, I have 3.
Well, it's actually like one movie. You could argue that this is one.
That's what I was gonna say. It's like one really long movie.
It really was, and I didn't want to go too deep because I think you're going to get a lot out of the documentary. So I didn't want to spoil everything that the documentary will hold for you. That's on Screenbox to go watch that movie, Living with Chucky. But so this is something I caught on my own without looking it up. But in the opening scene of Bride of Chucky, you see things such as a Freddy glove, a Jason mask. I found out there was actually like when I looked it up.
So this is really interesting. So the canon for the Chucky verse establishes the fact that it takes place in a universe where all the other killers,
all the other slashers
are alive.
Yeah.
So this is really interesting because the director of Bride of Chucky, Ronnie Yu, actually went on to direct Freddy versus Jason. So this was like
little Easter
preemptively
egg.
got him the part, I guess. So this is the first movie to introduce the stitched together Chucky look, which I think only lasted 2 movies at the end of the day because the new TV show doesn't use it, I think, or the last couple movies. So the opening of Seed of Chucky, after the credits, the long POV shot, that was actually a nod to Halloween. The director, writer, Don Mancini, loved that movie. Actually, speaking of, we did Brian De Palma earlier. Don Mancini really loves him some Brian De Palma because he gave several nods to different movies of his. Going so far as to hiring his composer to do the music for Seed of Chucky because he wanted a Brian De Palma feel. But there's also influences by Dario Argento with some of the dark or the bright reds and that kind of thing. Let's see. So this is one of my favorite things when, and I watched some of the extras on the DVD before watching the movie again. So it kind of framed it for me. But the thing I love about Seed of Chucky now is the director, Don Mancini, wanted it to besides the kills, obviously it's a Chucky movie, so you have to have some violence. But at the core of it, he wanted it to be a family drama, like something like, what did he compare it to? Like, Ordinary People or something, like these stark family dramas. Like that was what he wanted aside from the killing. And watching it with that in mind, it kind of pulls it off in a weird way. It is a weird family drama. I don't know how many people caught this, but the character of Glenn or Glenda is actually a nod to the old Ed Wood movie Glenn or Glenda, because about is he a man or a woman, dealing with those feelings. The original puppeteer for the original movies, Kevin Yeager, was unfortunately too busy during Seed of Chucky, so they brought on a new guy, Tony Gardner, to do the new puppets for that movie. In fact, he is the one that gets his head chopped off in the movie in Seed of Chucky. That is actually the real puppeteer who was acting and doing the puppetry for that movie. And if you want more facts, go watch Living with Chucky on Screenbox.
Yeah, she's done the work for us.
Yeah, basically. That's why I didn't want to go too deep, because I'm like, you got to go watch the movie. I don't want to give you all the facts. So, yeah, that's... I'll sneak another fact later on when I'm talking about one of my favorite bits, but that's the facts for now. Are we going into favorite bits now?
So, to help me in post-production, I asked David to shut up after he delivered the facts, and he just keeps awkwardly talking. Can't have an awkward silence with David. We'll be right back after these messages. Today's episode is sponsored by Honey, the easy way to save when shopping on your iPhone or computer. How do I feel when I find a deal? I feel like I just got one over on the man, or like I'm the smartest dude in the room. Thanks to Honey, manually searching for coupon codes is a thing of the past. Honey is the free shopping tool that scours the internet for promo codes and applies the best one that it finds to your cart. Imagine you're shopping on one of your favorite sites. When you go to checkout, the Honey button appears. All you have to do is click Apply Coupons. Wait a few seconds as Honey searches for those coupons, the best ones it can find for that site. If Honey finds a working coupon, you'll watch the prices drop. Now, somebody told me the other day, like, Johnny, you buy too many sunglasses. You wear too many sunglasses. I'm at a grocery store. The checkout boy's commenting on the sunglasses. And he's going like, where'd those sunglasses come from? And I go, these are Italian. And he goes, you flew to Italy to buy sunglasses? I said, no, I went to the internet to buy sunglasses. And now with Honey installed, it's like I can't not buy sunglasses. It would be irresponsible for me to not buy another pair of sunglasses. When the coupon codes for these lenses is dropping and clicking on and add-ons, it's like, of course, I'm going to buy the appropriate amount of sunglasses that I've installed Honey. Honey just doesn't work on desktops. It works on your iPhone too. Just activate it on Safari on your phone and save on the go. If you don't already have Honey, you could be straight up missing out. And by getting it, you'll be doing yourself a solid and supporting this show. Get PayPal Honey for free at joinhoney.com/watchers. That's joinhoney.com/watchers. With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Looking for more ways to save this season? HelloFresh is cheaper than grocery shopping and 25% cheaper than takeout. I gotta wrap my head around that. 25% cheaper than going to the noodle house for Johnny Spoiler. I'm gonna get on this HelloFresh. You can spend less time in the kitchen with quick and easy meals like HelloFresh fast and fresh pineapple chicken tacos to die for. Chicken tacos with pineapple. Oh, yeah. Falafel power balls that are ready in 15 minutes or less. HelloFresh keeps your taste buds on their toes with 40 recipes and over 100 seasonal and convenience items to choose from each week. With so much mouth-watering variety, there are options for everyone and every lifestyle, including this guy's Johnny Spoilers, manja, 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 all day long. No worries if you're not a pro in the kitchen. HelloFresh has got foolproof recipes that arrive pre-portioned and easy to prepare in just a few steps. Hey, guess what? HelloFresh is not just for dinner. In fact, HelloFresh has you covered for every freaking mealtime occasion, from snacks and easy lunches to seasonal celebrations and the festive gatherings at the Spoiler House. Woo, 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 where my dogs at? Like Ted Lasso, huh? He rounds up his dogs, or round up our dogs for freaking football night. You know what? We'll be just crunching HelloFresh. How about that? Anyway, go to HelloFresh.com/BingeWatchers50 and use code BingeWatchers50 for 50% off. Plus, your first box is going to ship for free. Sweet. Again, go to HelloFresh.com/BingeWatchers50 and use code BingeWatchers50 for 50% off. Plus, your first box is going to get that for free. Oh, and by the way, every plate is now under the HelloFresh umbrella. They're in one house, so you get an even wider array of meal plans to choose from. There's something for everybody. And I personally love switching between the brands, and now my listeners can enjoy both brands at a discount with me at the same time. So, again, go to HelloFresh.com/BingeWatchers50 and use that code BingeWatchers50. Ba-bam! And we're back. We're back with favorite bits. Well, Jordan gets to kick off. That's her favorite part of the show.
The bit.
And she's in charge of it now. That's like
I am in charge of it now. I've been trying to write them down so I'm not flying by the seat of my pants, but to kick it off, I would say probably my favorite scenes were when Tiffany is in her trailer. Like, I loved the soft goth. There's like purple everywhere and like spider webs, and it just was like my 90s soft goth dream trailer. And then, of course, the documentary had framed one of my favorite scenes within the trailer, and that is when Tiffany gets murdered by Chucky in the bathtub, right? Yeah. You have the movie of Bride of Frankenstein going on. Chucky throws the TV in the bath. There's bubbles everywhere, electrocution, and it just is quite the whirlwind of, I don't know, I guess pink and bubbly and just really fun stuff to look at. Lots of chaos. Then I would say in Seed of Chucky, or no, it was still in Bride of Chucky. One of my favorite kills was the thieving couple in the like Niagara Falls chapel honeymoon suite when they're on the bed and Tiffany, you know, obviously gets a little ragey because the girl had stolen her ring. And so Tiffany ends them by throwing the champagne bottle into the glass ceiling, which then, of course, shatters that on top of a waterbed. So it's this like chaos of shattered glass, electrocution. It just was very, 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 this was very entertaining. And then, of course, I would say one of my favorite parts was just like how well Jennifer Tilly in Seed of Chucky does the like movie within a movie and like roles within a role and within a role. She's just funny. She's just so pretty and good to watch. And when she's tied down with Redmond and she's like about to give birth, like that was probably my favorite bit of that. So yeah, I did it. Dave.
Well, you stole one of my favorite bits, so I won't go too much into that. The throwing up the champagne bottle and killing the couple with the mirror was pretty great. That even before I watched it, like that stuck in my head. So like I kind of knew ahead of time that was one of my favorites. Of course, poor John Ritter getting it to the face with the staple gun, nail gun. A poor guy. Seed of Chucky, I have a few favorite bits. Of course, any part with John Waters or the photographer, journalist, the tabloid guy. He's one of my favorite directors and personalities. So him popping up just instantly raises it for me. But he also has probably one of the most brutal kills, which, and by accident, is Glenn or Glenda pushes him up, and a bottle of sulfuric acid falls on him, and his face practically melts. And yeah, spoiler alert, practically melts or becomes goo. Kind of like the origin of Two-Face, but gnarly. Pretty fun. And then there's a great line that like just I forgot about it and it killed me. And come to find out, I listened to the commentary with Jennifer Tilly, and it turns out it was her least favorite line, which kind of bummed me out when I found out it was my favorite and her least favorite. But there's a line where Tiffany the doll is on the phone with somebody, and I think Chucky's killing somebody, and there's a lot of screaming going on, and the person on the other line is like, well, who's that? It's like, oh, I've got Bounds on in the back on cable. Gina Gershon's fingering me. Which, if you know that movie,
is another Jennifer Tilly callback. Yeah, because she's in the movie,
and unfortunately, Jennifer Tilly, she hated it, but she, still did it.
Well, it's funny that like these movies kind of revitalized Jennifer Tilly's career in a weird way, and like celebrate the like she's like a character actor. Yeah. celebrates her type of acting that she can do. Is that a good segue, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. I'd say this probably boosted her career because then she, did Family Guy not that long after because she became a voice actress. So I think it all kind of snowballed into keeping her into a good career.
You know, I'm sitting here thinking what's really funny is like, unless I've forgotten about a spoiler that I've done recently, I feel like both of you have spoilered everything in the last, like, I don't know, 9 episodes or something.
It's because you're rubbing off on us.
I guess so. It's kind of funny. I agree with both of you. The other honeymoon killer couple that they meet at the Niagara Falls Motel or whatever and get murdered by shattering the love mirror. That's one of my favorite bits. I love the fact that this is one of John Ritter's last movies, Bride of Chucky. He plays like kind of a psycho stepdad police dude who's trying to keep the teenage couple apart. So it's like Romeo and Juliet, whatever. He was probably in the running for being America's favorite dad. I know they just gave that title to Tom Hanks like 2 years ago or whatever. However, I think if John Ritter was still alive, he might have taken it. Like he was at the time, and like one of the most popular sitcoms was 8 Simple Rules to Date My Teenage Daughter was on TV like right before he died. And yeah, it's a bummer. It's a bummer that he's dead. And it's hard. It's almost hard like when an actor dies that you like, and one of their last things is like a violent role. So you're like, I want to appreciate this actor and tell you how great he is in this movie, but also his character gets murdered and he died. You know, he died close to the movie coming out. I think he dies like.
No, he died. He lived for like another 6 or 7 years because he did like one of his last movies was Bad Santa, which came way after this.
I thought it was like a few years. They were all kind of in the same time.
I mean, like within 5 or 6 years. I mean, but this was like not. Long story short is you don't have to be sad seeing him die because he died way after this. This was.
I don't know. John Ritter was like a national treasure, so I think like we'll fill that one forever as long as people remember who he is. I mean, his son's a director now, so Jason Ritter, one of his like 3 or 4 kids. Let's see. Oh, and then my favorite part, I don't like Seed of Chucky as much as I like Bride of Chucky. However, here's my hardcore spoiler that might ruin some Seed of Chucky viewers. At the end of the movie, we get this tight reveal that Tiffany has possessed Jennifer Tilly's body when she's raising Glenn or Glenda. Or both. Who knows? And we get a call back for Chucky because his arm shows up in a birthday present for Glenn. And so we know he's coming back. What else is going on? Oh, I get to tell them about... I'll actually tell them about the Living with Chucky documentary that came out on Screenbox. Hold on. If you're watching this, folks, you'll get to see a picture of it. If you're just listening, you'll have to just bear with us. All right, Child's Play documentary has come out. It's called Living with Chucky. It's on Screenbox. It'll drop on Blu-ray on April 18th. After growing up with the Child's Play franchise, director Kira Gardner, she's the daughter of special effects wizard Tony Gardner, who Dave mentioned earlier. She offers a unique perspective on Chucky's reign of terror in Living with Chucky. The documentary is streaming now on Screenbox and will be available, like I said, on VOD on April 18th. Chucky creator Don Mancini and franchise alum Brad Dourif and Jennifer Tilly, among others, cast and creators, join in and give interviews. Living with Chucky has been a love letter not only to the franchise but to the people that worked on it, says the director. And Living with Chucky joins Screenbox's growing library of unique horror content, including The Outwaters, Terrifier 2, Pennywise, The Story of It, 13 Nights of Elvira, Reanimator, Slumber Party Massacre, Hell House, LLC, and History of a Cult and Toxic Crusaders. You can start streaming this now. Or streaming now with Screenbox on iOS, Roku, YouTube TV, Samsung, Comcast, Cox Cable, and Screenbox.com. We're actually going to go to, or we were able to get an interview with Kira. We did I guess it's an exclusive. Sure. A Screenbox exclusive interview with us and Kira Gardner. Check it out, folks. All right. I don't know how they gave this interview to Johnny Spoiler, dude. Someone's going to get fired. Just kidding. It's going to be the best interview of all time. We're going to dive right in and try to take a stab with Kira Gardner talking about Living with Chucky. We're just going to go right in. If you're cool, we're just going to go zoom.
Okay, literally zoom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm sure he's done like a million of these like probably.
I'm getting used to it.
Yeah. And well deserved, by the way. We'll get into we'll get into more. I don't like to give away. I don't want to play my cards too early. All right. So you made this magical little short called Phoebe. Now I want to know. I tried to dig it up, but I couldn't find it. Is it available to watch online? And are you going to adapt it into a feature?
Wow, that is crazy. It was available for people to watch on Vimeo. But I have a song from Dirty Dancing, Time of My Life, in that short, and the licensing for it expired like a few months ago.
Yeah.
Or longer. And so it was like pay for it again for another term so that people could watch it on Vimeo, or just like take it off of Vimeo. And I was like, I'm not gonna pay for this. I put all my money into this documentary I just made. I'm good.
Well,
but
for the uninitiated, I just want to mention that Phoebe's like an animatronic fish puppet, and it's hardcore, folks. Like if you can find, like on the Facebook channel, there's like behind the scenes stuff, so you can definitely see some of it. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. It's a literal fish out of water coming of age movie of a girl trying to make friends in college. But yeah, Phoebe still exists, and Kimmy Robertson, who voiced her, who is a sweet baby angel, is still around and a good friend. So I would be curious to adapt it into a feature length version. I've been getting that a lot recently, and I'm just like, dang, have I been sitting on this for too long? I don't know.
So you're the daughter of legendary special effects guy Tony Gardner, and it goes without saying, I got to mention a couple of my favorites. Obviously, I love what he did. He was working as like an assistant, I think, on Thriller, but then he did the makeup effects in Darkman and the half zombie from Return of the Living Dead, dude. So how do you step out of his shadow to like forge your own path as a filmmaker and like establish your own voice?
Yeah, it's intimidating and daunting sometimes, because my dad, around my age, had already done Thriller and Return of the Living Dead, and what did he do? The Blob, probably, maybe.
Around the same time, yeah. I don't want to drop all his goodies because it's about you. It's not about him. You know what I mean? But
exactly.
Just want to acknowledge the history, right? The legacy of it all.
Exactly. So it's like it's a little less intimidating to not be in a shadow when it's when I'm going into directing and not SFX makeup. I think if I was a SFX makeup artist, it would be a lot harder to step out of his shadow. But it's great. It's almost like my goal in filmmaking is to make weird, creepy, or fantastical movies and utilize my dad. I don't view it so much as a shadow of it anymore. I used to, but it's like now we just get to work together as adults. That's really awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty great, actually. You seem to have a really good head on your shoulders and like really grounded. So I think that'll probably help you with whatever you do next, you know?
Thank you. As far as you know, I can
maximize that stuff. You know? What's that?
Yeah. I said, as far as you know, I could be crazy.
Right?
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's a litmus test. Who knows?
Yeah.
Or fans, we're always profiled, right?
Exactly.
Now that I don't know if IMDb got this right, but I'd like to find out. Like I had heard that your Dollhouse short, which is like the short version of Living with Chucky, was included in the Cult of Chucky DVD, but more importantly and more badass, is it true that you're like the first student film to get featured in Toronto's After Dark Horror Movie Festival? Is that accurate?
A student film featured in the way that it was? I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And definitely first student film to be acquired by NBC Universal.
So you're already like a legend yourself then. That's what I think. I mean, that's props to you on that one, man.
Your words, your kind words, not mine.
Oh, well,
I appreciate that.
My audience will take the clout. They'll get it. Now, okay, so in crafting like an edit decision list, I'm imagining that there's like hours and hours of footage between the Dollhouse short and the feature-length Living with Chucky. Like, first of all, how did you like manifest such a task, like compiling all that into the edit room to make sense of it and put it into a story for like 90 minutes for the rest of us?
Yeah, I had no idea the task that I was taking on when I set out to do this, to be honest. But that, like all my films, is I just create way too hard of problems for myself, and I love that. This process, I just took what I learned in film school with documentary filmmaking and tried to see if it could apply to a feature. I'm not sure if this is actually how documentary film editors work, but basically it consisted of transcribing every single interviewee's interview and to Word. So I have a giant binder this big, and it's every interview typed out. And then it was a color coding system. Blue was like the history of the franchise. Green was when people talked about money. Pink was what, like, people's love for each other. And it was just like literally doing a paper edit first of like with sticky notes of, okay, if I talk about that, then I can talk about this. And then this sentence goes from green to pink. So then that can transition us to talking about this. And it was a lot of trial and error of seeing just like what could flow. And it was a lot of very bad, too long, rough cuts to go through to get something that actually made sense.
No, that's like an amazing answer, because I just feel like you just gave like aspiring documentarians or film students or filmmakers that are exploring this like great ideas. I don't think anybody would have thought to make a visual binder of the themes of the interviews within the transcripts and then compile it in such a way that you could pull it from make an edit decision list on that kind of level. That's an amazing answer. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Of course.
Now, I heard in one of your other recent interviews that like you weren't initially maybe into docs, but you had like a documentary film class that you had to take as a requirement. Since that time, have you fallen in love with any documentaries outside of your own in particular? A couple titles that you really enjoy or maybe be inspiring or something on your playlist?
Yeah. I haven't watched a lot of horror documentaries. I should. And obviously the ones that I was inspired from for film school was Searching for Sugar Man and Stories We Tell. But then I continued to watch some, and is it called Summer of Soul? Came out, I think last year. It was nominated for some big award, whether it was the Academy or something like that. But that was obviously a way different subject. And it was basically about like the Black Woodstock that was taking place back in the 70s or 80s. And I really enjoyed that documentary. Their editing style is really good. They have great B-roll. Their title sequence is great. And it's all like with 70s, like cool music and stuff like that. That I really enjoyed that one.
Have you happened to see there's like a 3-hour long Nightmare on Elm Street documentary, right?
I have seen some of it.
Yeah, okay. And then there's an amazing, also I think it's 3 hours. I don't know what the 3-hour mark, I don't know what that's about.
One of them is 6 hours.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. So there's the Eagles music documentary. The reason I bring those up is, to me, those are like gold standards that you might see on a shelf. However, the Nightmare on Elm Street one was like a gold standard in horror movie documentaries. And then you bring us Living with Chucky, and I feel like it fits right on the shelf. Because it's like, is this like a penultimate like Chucky documentary? Because I feel like what happens to franchise fans is in between movies, we might go to festivals, we'll do the Q&As, we'll go to the conventions, or we'll go online, we're in the forums, the message boards, the Facebook groups or whatever, but nothing really like kind of pulls it all together. So a lot of the things that we were thinking about with Chucky and his extended family now, right? Because we have the other dolls, I think it's Tiffany, right? And then Glenn and Glenda, right? So we have like a whole family of dolls now in the franchise, and then there's a series and everything, but nothing really kind of like brings all the other feelings that we have like together. But now like your movie's like a guidepost, you know what I mean? Like it all kind of has like we have a central focus now.
Yeah, that was something that I was happy about, because a lot of people like will ask me questions or things like that have been answered in behind the scenes interviews and things like that, but it's spread all across the internet, and how would you know? So I was hoping to make a one-stop shop for all your Chucky needs.
You nailed it. Now, is there a moment that stands out from working second unit on the Foo Fighters horror movie Studio 666?
Yeah. I was supposed to direct second unit, and then there was budget cuts, so I directed and shot a making of could be documentary of the entire movie. So that was 2.5-3 years. I was also shooting that while finishing this, which was also time consuming. Gosh, so many moments. But there was this moment, they were doing a test makeup for Dave prior to the movie actually starting to film, because he turns into, spoiler alert, he turns into a demon man at the end. And I was filming my dad doing his makeup, and then Taylor Hawkins walked into the it was this bathroom. We were doing it in the bathroom of the house that they shot the movie at, but also that was where they recorded their latest album. And so they were also talking about the album because it hadn't come out yet. And it was just me and my dad, Dave, and Taylor in the bathroom talking about their next album and the movie for like 15 minutes. And that the whole process was so magical and fun, but like that moment was just so special, and just like a moment where I was watching myself watch what was happening, and I was like, this moment will never happen again.
And maybe I won't get another opportunity to talk to you. So I got one biggie, the last question. Okay, here we go. The reason we're here, besides making sure everybody watches Living with Chucky, if you could make a Child's Play movie, what are your ideas for Chucky, or where would Chucky and company, what would the dolls be up to, or where do you think your story would go if you're at the helm of directing and writing the next Child's Play movie?
Oh, Jesus. I just feel like he's been brought so many places already. Mm-hmm. Definitely not taking him into outer space. We're not gonna no, thank you. I don't know if there's a well, you could have. Chucky has yet to do a like mashup with another horror icon. And I know a lot of people are like Chucky versus Freddy and things like that, but I would be curious about a world where, because it's also Universal IP, is Megan and Chucky. But
yeah, and they had a Twitter war recently, so that'd be fun.
So let's just like manifest it. But or like it sounds cheesy, but it's like almost if you could have a world where all like the iconic dolls are somehow in the same vicinity, like Talking Tina and the voodoo doll from what is it? The first like movie to ever do a horror doll. I just watched it. Terror Time. I'm the worst. But that'd be an interesting world as well. I don't know.
So we're gonna plug really the hell out of Living with Chucky on our podcast, Binge-Watchers podcast with Johnny Spoiler. So I'll be mentioning it pretty much the next 3 or 4 episodes, and then we're gonna drop this throughout the podcast and probably drop some of this on our social. But this has been really rad. Thanks for taking the time to do this with me today. It's awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the interview. It was fun.
Did you guys take a look at this documentary, Living with Chucky?
I did. Yeah.
What do you think, Jordan?
I loved just hearing the people who grew up with him have their scary stories of like actually dealing with him. You know, didn't her dad's head be the one that got cut off? Like that would be pretty terrifying to like see. Also just hearing Jennifer Tilly say that she was like really hesitant to do this role, and when she met the doll, like that's what had done it for her, is like being sold on Chucky. And, you know, by what you guys have said, it sounds like it kind of revitalized her career to help her get on to do some other things. So it was super good.
Yeah, I'm kind of a sucker for these types of documentaries anyways. Like, you know, you focus an hour and a half, 2 hours on a movie or a series of movies, and you get like the original people. You strap me in for an evening. I love this type of documentary regardless. So yeah, go watch it. I mean, if you like Chucky, hell, even if you don't really like Chucky, I mean, watch it and you're going to be wanting to watch Chucky. I hadn't seen Chucky in years, and watching this documentary, like I wanted to, and we did it for the show, but like
honestly, the documentary is why I said like, let's jam Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky into our Savage Spring Break lineup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're right. It just reignited the excitement for this franchise. Also, the audience will have heard me asking her, like, where should Chucky go? Like, where should the franchise go? And she's like, well, surely not to outer space, right? Which is really funny. But, you know, franchises go everywhere. But she was suggesting a mashup, which I think is really cool. You know, kind of plays into what you were saying about Yanni, or what do you say his name was? Ronnie Yu?
Yeah.
Yeah. And, yeah, so if the Chuckyverse exists with all the franchises within its universe, then like you could have Chucky fight like Kira has suggested Megan, which is a good suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
So Megan versus Chucky would be awesome. And they were doing like a promotional thing where they were fighting on Twitter. I don't know if you guys saw that. Like they had like a back and forth on Twitter. It's kind of funny between the official accounts or whatever.
I mean, I would definitely be down to see some like terrifying AI fight this like demon, demonic voodoo doll.
But then think like Chucky could get a Megan style upgrade, right? Like he could be downloaded to like a hardcore robotic body. You know what I mean? Like he would get upgraded like just like freaking Terminator style Chucky now. Like that'd be really funny. Like Wolverine and the X-Men's made out of like adamantium, which is like an indestructible metal, right? So you can imagine if Chucky got like some kind of robotically enhanced metal skeleton or something, so he couldn't be torn apart or blown up this time. That'd be kind of cool.
See, the only thing is the major difference between Megan and Chucky is that Megan is literally a robot that went bad. So her battery dies. She's dead. So whereas Chucky is pure evil.
No, spoiler alert. Let me just spoil Megan for everybody. She gets beat up by another primitive AI that's in the garage of the creator who comes to life to save. Well, not really comes to life. The niece is operating the big AI dude, monkey dude, and he like it's just a big burly like it was like the movie we watched early on in Megan we see it in the garage and going like, you know what, I bet you that big robot in the corner is going to kill Megan at the end of this movie. Sure enough, he smashes Megan to pieces. Yeah.
And then what?
Oh wait, she's only half smashed. Are you saying wait, I have to rewatch this part of Megan.
Or does she?
Because they electrocuted her too, right? Is what you're saying, Dave? Do they zap her? Or just the other robot?
I don't know. I'm misremembering how the movie ends, but I'm saying just in the theory of the movie, she is a robot. So if her battery source dies, then she can't do anything.
In theory. But can I spoil it? Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it. I mean, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. She uploads her subconscious into the little temperature
into the Google Home, into the Ask Alexa.
Yeah, it's like the thermostat robot.
So we know she's alive. Yeah.
So does that mean she's just going to make people really uncomfortable? Just turn it up a few degrees? Is that all she's going to do?
Who's messing with the thermostat again?
It's a dad's worst nightmare. Yeah.
Well, according to Daddy's Home, right? It's in Daddy's Home too. That's where I'm going with that. So like, I don't know if that's true of old. Is that true of dads? When they get old?
Don't touch the thermostat? Yeah, duh.
Yeah. Talk to me in 20, 30 years. Let's find out if I'm saying the same thing.
Hell, I don't have kids yet, and I'm that way. I'm like, God, stop, do it. Do you know how much it costs to heat this house?
Well, I don't remember what it is, but in Daddy's Home 2, it's like Mel Gibson, John Lithgow, and Mark Wahlberg all complain when the stepdaughter of Mark Wahlberg cranks it to like 90, but she has her window open. But she wants it warm, but she has her window open. And they come out like, whatever. And it's like the whole thing for like... It's funny in the movie, folks. I don't know what to tell you. Go watch Daddy's Home 2. And again, we'll eventually get proof that Dave has seen Daddy's Home 1 and 2. Which
one, not 2.
Is a recall to about 7 episodes ago where somehow we mentioned Daddy's Home. It all comes back around.
It really does.
So let's see. What are we doing next? We are taking a break. We'll come back and we'll finish off. We're going to go have... Each one of us is going to collect. We're going to go have our own spring break. So maybe Dave will watch Daddy's Home.
The classic spring break movie.
Yeah. And then we're going to come back for Whitewater Summer. Hidden gem. Folks, if you can find this movie, Sean Astin, Kevin Bacon playing a psychopath raft instructor. Sean Astin talks about his summer. Wears a shirt like mine. There's a signature Johnny Spoiler shirt on here that Dave thinks he knows where I got it from. A made-up store from some comedy show. And then after that, we'll be slipping into anime. Anime, because it happens in the month of May, and it's about anime. Anime. Get it? Jordan gets it.
I'm ready for it. Let's go.
And Dave...
I'm just going to be grumpy all month.
Oh, man. So many things just popped into my head, and I just don't want to record them on a microphone because I don't know how well they'll go off. But I just the reasons for your grumpiness. There's so many thoughts flying through my head. You guys watch anything else besides Chucky?
I did. I watched other Chucky movies, but I also watched a different movie.
Wait. So You've seen part 1 and 4 and 5 now, right? So because you've seen the original plus Bride plus
Say
Seed.
the first, the second. I didn't watch the third, and then Bride and Seed.
Wait,
And then the
you saw
documentary.
Chucky too?
Yeah, I did. I watched it.
Can you rank the Chuckies that you have seen?
Probably 2, then Bride, then the first, then Seed. Yeah.
Interesting ranking. Yeah, Seed would be at the bottom of mine for sure, and Chucky 2 would be the tops for me. Yeah.
Yeah. When he gets melted in the machine, or even at the very end with the hot plastic, that was wild.
Well, that's where Dave's Toy Factory Nightmare comes from.
Mm-hmm.
The whole finale is at the Toy Factory.
The massive maze of good guys, like good guys boxes everywhere. Yeah, super scary. But I also watched a movie called Infinity Pool with Alex Skarsgård and this other.
Dude. Oh, yes.
I have to set aside a whole hour for this one, Jordan.
Sorry. I can save it for next week, but that was crazy. Yeah. So I won't spoil anything, but the movie is about a resort on an island. The island's culture really, there's, very high consequences for the crimes that you commit, and it's pretty much punishable by death always. And so if you're rich enough, you can pay to die, but you have to watch it. You essentially pay you pay to get cloned, and you have to watch yourself die. But I'll just leave it at that. It just gets way more messed up than that. So yeah.
I mean, it's just a simple allegory of like, hey, the rich can get away with anything as long as you've got the money.
But there's also some twisted stuff about like masculinity, and it's just power plays, and it was.
I might have to watch. I did like it, but I think the movie thinks it's deeper than it really is. I don't know. Like it has some interesting ideas, but are honestly at the end of the day pretty surface level. I don't know. Maybe I got to watch it again. Maybe there was something I missed, but it seemed like pretty. I liked it well enough. How did you like it? What would you give it? A binge now, binge later?
It was a binge now for me, just because of like how much I thought about like their relationship. I did not see that coming. I thought that she was like really trying to be into him, I guess. I don't know. I just thought that their relationship was a twist for me. I did not see it like
I might need to rewatch it, but yeah. It was definitely interesting and gross at times.
Oh yeah, and gross at times for sure. So yeah, definitely stuck out to me. But did you, Dave, watch anything else?
Yeah, I've watched a few things. I've been binging a lot of TV shows lately. I won't go too long into it because I know John's brought it up, but I finally got around to Shrinking. I'll give another endorsement for that. It's really worth your time. But the show that I was really caught off guard, I kept hearing buzz online, and then I caught it on Amazon. It's called Swarm. I don't know. It's like basically, it's a very thinly veiled allegory or like comparison
Which
to like
Culkin
Beyonce fan. What's that?
Which Culkin is in that one?
Which cult?
Culkin.
And there is a cult of Culkins, by the way. Just saying.
I'm trying to. I can't remember, but if they're
Kieran?
in there, they're very.
No, he's the middle one. It's the youngest one who was actually
Rory?
in a cult show. He was in Waco. There was a Waco.
I gotta watch that whole show.
I didn't.
Yeah, I can't remember the Culkin. They have certain guests or stars pop in here and there.
Well,
but
word on the street is you get some full frontal Culkin in this show.
I might have blinked and missed
one
that.
or two
I don't
episodes
know.
in.
Huh?
David, you're not missing that. You know you're pressing freeze. Don't try to lie in a podcast, bro.
Yeah.
We got your number, dog.
In any case, it's about a girl who's obsessed with Nyjah, who is like a stand-in for Beyonce and her fans, and it quickly turns into a serial killer
she
show.
Snaps and murders, right?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
It like all of a sudden I just thought it's only about an obsessed fan, and it is. But then it turns quickly into a serial killer.
It's made by
show.
Donald Glover, who made
Atlanta.
Yeah.
He was a star, one of the stars of Community. He's Childish Gambino, the rapper. He's a lot of things.
He has a twisted sensibility, and this is like his slasher TV show.
Yeah, it's really I didn't know that going in. I kept hearing a lot of good things.
You don't know that from the poster?
No, because sometimes I hear things just about word
She's
of mouth.
standing there with like a mischievous look on her face, and there's blood everywhere.
Wonderful. I didn't look at the poster that long.
Oh yeah, Dave. I don't know how you exist in 2023 where you don't see the posters of the trailers, or it's on your feed, on your phone.
Because I actively try to avoid some of that stuff because half that shit gives something away. Like if it's a movie I know I want to watch, I'm going to skip the trailer unless it's in a movie theater in front of me.
I agree, Dave.
Because I'm tired of stuff getting ruined for me. Now, if I hear good word of mouth, like on this one, I didn't look at the poster, I didn't watch a trailer. I said, "Oh."
But what I'm saying is, there's no way to avoid this 110. Some things must get ruined for you, or you must see them.
I was lucky enough to not have that part ruined for me. Man, I don't know what to tell you.
Dave lives in a bubble world. It must be great.
It's great because I don't have stuff spoiled for me. Like how much richer was the experience?
You could be driving down the road and see a billboard, or
dude,
you could go to a fast food restaurant and it's on the damn package of the French fries.
Billboards with Amazon shows.
Dave, I don't believe that nothing in the history of time could be spoiled for you. Where you might there's no.
I didn't say nothing ever in the world gets spoiled for me, but this show did not get spoiled for me.
Somebody had to break up the passion between you two, okay?
I was trying to cut Dave off mid-argument during his retort, and it got Jordan instead. Misfire, straight bullet.
I am okay if it's me or if it is the ending sound. You know what? Whatever to break you two up sometimes. But
do you remember what you were going to say?
Yeah, no, I'm with Dave though. Some of this stuff sneaks by me, so I have to say.
Yeah, but Facebook and Instagram know what you want to see, and they'll show it to you.
What's a movie poster?
What is a movie poster? Laughing out loud.
I don't know. I just avoid half the time. I don't even as soon as everybody's like, "Hey, the new Star Wars trailer or the new blah 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 trailer," I'm like, "Okay, great. I'm gonna skip that because I'm already gonna watch it. So there's no point in having something spoiled for me."
Right.
This is a baller episode. Good stuff, guys.